Would you please join me in welcoming Terry Baker to the stage? Would it be too goofy to say that we are kicking things off with Terry Baker tonight? I don't know. I'm going to go with it anyway. Let's go back to the fall of 1992. Terry Baker is the place kicker and punter for the Ottawa Rough Riders of the CFL. Most kickers shy away from the rough stuff, but during this season, Terry will have 5 special teams tackles. A year before, he was 2 for 3 passing for 36 yards, carried the ball twice for 35 yards, had 1 pass reception, and recorded 7 tackles. Here's a quote. He said, "I'm a football player, not just a kicker. I relish the opportunity to make tackles when I need to. There are some kickers that are different. Fortunately, I'm not one of them." Bruce Beaton, a longtime CFL lineman from Port Hood, played in Montreal and Ottawa with Terry.
A good athlete for a kicker. He was a guy who was a high school linebacker, so he could not only punt and do field goals, which is a nice thing in the CFL because a lot of teams have to carry 2 guys for that 1 roster spot. But he could also make the play and sometimes make it in a physical, memorable kind of fashion when a returner did spring loose.
Terry did not even consider a CFL career when he was a youngster growing up in Bridgewater. He didn't even play his first organized football game until grade 12 at the Cobequid Education Center in Truro. He didn't start kicking until his 3rd year at Mount Allison University, from which he earned a business degree in 1984. His ability was noted as he was an Atlantic University Sport All-Star in 83 and 84, won a league title, an Atlantic Bowl in 1984, and was on the Vanier Cup runner-up Mounties that year. In the year following graduation, he coached at Acadia, but the bug was still there, and he played for the AUS Conference champion Axemen in 1986, again earning All-Star status. Drafted as an 8th rounder by the Montreal Concorde in 1984, after just 2 years at Mount A, he saw the Concorde fold in 1986, and he hooked up with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in 87. That started a 16-season pro football odyssey through 4 franchises, 2 Grey Cup championships, many punting and scoring titles, division and league all-star designations, and a few single-season team scoring records. Terry played in Ottawa and Montreal with a brief stop as well in Toronto. His longest tenure and probably most satisfying was with the Alouettes from 96 to 2002, from where he retired after winning his 2nd Grey Cup ring. The first was with Saskatchewan in 1989.
Terry's a steady guy. You always know what you're going to get in terms of Terry Baker. I mean, he's an upstanding, moral guy with a lot of integrity, and he always approached the game like a pro, and was just a great teammate. He was one of those guys that you could always count on. Usually, if you're coaching a football team, you tend to look at a team and evaluate it in terms of problems, in terms of problem guys, or certain positions that you have to upgrade, and Terry was never one of those. He was one of those guys you could count on from an integrity standpoint, and then he always performed well on the field.
Now, while Terry can look back on some late-game field goal attempts he might have missed, Bruce Beaton says there were more memorable Baker field goals. At least we think he's going to say that.
He performed extremely well in the 2002 Grey Cup, and was a key figure in Montreal's victory over us in Edmonton that year. And you know, he likes to rub that in, of course, when we get together. But unfortunately, the next 2 times in a row that we did beat Montreal in the Grey Cup, he wasn't around, so I can't really stick him with it like I'd like to. So
those linemen are always a little slow to start talking anyway, aren't they? Jim Popp, the vice president and general manager, now coach of the Alouettes, says in a letter supporting Terry's nomination to the Hall of Fame, this is a quote, "Terry went about his business with great focus, a must for a player who would be called upon with the game on the line. He was a natural leader in the locker room, often the voice of reason for the players, and although not very emotional on the field, he was still very competitive." Montreal Alouette quarterback Anthony Calvillo was a teammate of Terry's and appreciated his ability to kick the football.
He kicked field goals as well as punted. And very strong leg, very flexible. That always blew me away how flexible he was. He was always stretching, getting himself ready for practice. But to know that we had Terry back there pulling both duties was very comforting, because he did a great job for us in the Grey Cup. I mean, he hit a big field goal for us in the Grey Cup that we won.